Have you seen that Leonardo DiCaprio film? I think it's called The Revenant.
The Revenant,
Where he gets attacked by a grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's really good. I talked to him about it. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
About that particular scene.
About that scene, yeah.
I highly recommend that everyone go watch The Revenant.
Great
It's a
movie.
great film.
Yeah.
It won Leo's first Oscar.
That's right, yeah.
But the way they've shown the grizzly bear attack in that film, that'll kind of help you understand how dangerous grizzlies are.
I think that's fair.
On a lot of American podcasts, they talk about grizzly bears.
Yeah.
But it's not a conversation we usually have in India.
Sure.
So I'd love for you to kind of give us a 101 on grizzlies and these grizzly attacks. And I'd love some personal experiences.
I'll tell you about them, but I'll tell you what, I think your sloth bears here are much scarier.
Oh, really?
Much scarier animal.
The Indian sloth bears?
The Indian sloth bear, I think, is a much scarier animal. And I'll tell you why. And I'm happy to go back to grizzlies. But the grizzly bear has no competitors. Maybe a pack of wolves wants to look at its kill. It postures up, the wolves run away. In India, a sloth bear, which is a fraction of the size of a grizzly bear, has to contend with tigers, it has to contend with leopards, and it has to be a badass. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a sloth bear and you've got a tiger hunting you, you have to have the attitude. And I've seen these videos coming out of various parks and things in India where a female tiger tries to look at a tiger tries to look at a female sloth bear's cub, and the mother just comes trucking in there and she's like, bring it on, standing up to a tiger. I think they're amazing. Yeah, I really do.
Why are they that angry?
Because they got to fight with tigers. They got to contend with bigger, tougher animals. So you know the saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Sloth bears have that fight in the dog.
So if we take a sloth bear in a forest like Tadoba,
Yeah.
and a tiger in that same forest, and we keep checking their patrilineal or matrilineal lineage, like you go back down that genetic line, do you think that entire sloth bear line evolved to become aggressive? Because
Absolutely.
They had to survive alongside tigers?
Absolutely. No question.
Right?
Somewhere way back in the evolutionary chain, tigers and sloth bears were fighting each other, and they still are. And only the best and the strongest sloth bears survived. And only the most aggressive sloth bears survived. And then they bred more strongest, most aggressive, and more strongest, most aggressive. And so they've had to co-evolve in order to combat each other. And grizzlies don't have that. Grizzlies are phenomenal. I mean, in a grizzly bear versus a sloth bear, the grizzly bear would win just based on size and strength. But they don't have predators. They don't feel threatened very often. You know, they mostly just fight with each other. So they're the size of the dog in the fight. They don't have the fight in the dog.
So if we created an animal wrestling match between sloth bears and grizzlies, what would happen?
The grizzly would win against one sloth bear. I think if you put two together, the grizzly would go down. Yeah.
Wow.
I think. I don't have no way of knowing that, but yeah, I think sloth bears just have this unbelievable attitude. When I was up in the Himalayas, when we went to the red panda place, I remember, we walk out every morning early, beautiful misty mountains over the Himalayas, unbelievable high canopy looking at, for the kiwi berries where the red pandas eat. And one point in time, just got back from our morning walk. It was like 9-10 o'clock in the morning, went in for a cup of tea. And all of a sudden, these three guys who we'd never seen before just come sprinting in and slam the door shut and close the door. And they're like holding the door. I was like, what is going on? Because I've never seen the guys. They don't work at the little lodge we're at or anything. And I asked like somebody who spoke Hindi, I was like, what's happening? And they're like, oh, they just saw a sloth bear on the road. And I was like, get out of my way. I want to see the sloth bear. I was like trying to make them open the door. And they're like, no. Like they wouldn't let me open the door because they thought the sloth bear was right on the road. After like a minute, I got out to run and find the sloth bear and it was gone. I never saw it. But these guys were like, you're crazy. If you even see the sloth bear, it'll rip you to pieces. And I mean, some of that might just be lore, but that's how crazy they are. I've run right at grizzly bears to go see them. And it's
really?
Like, yeah, which is probably more me being stupid than behaving correctly. But yeah.
Why did you want to see the sloth bear?
Phenomenal animal. Unbelievably beautiful creature. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to harass it. I was just sightseeing on this trip. I just wanted to get safely close enough to see a sloth bear in the wild.
You want to share that grizzly story?
Mine?
Yeah.
Sure.
Where was this?
In Alaska. I've seen grizzlies 7, 8, 9 times, something like that. Always in Alaska. I've never seen them anywhere else.
How's Alaska as a land?
Beautiful. harsh but beautiful.
Harsh.
Yeah. It's cold. Even in the summer, it's cold. Might be nice and warm t-shirt weather in the daytime, but at night it gets cold, and it's like the Revenant. I think that was technically up in Canada where they filmed it, but it's that. It's this beautiful landscape of trees and glaciers and mountains, and it feels like it goes on forever, but it's a difficult land. The winters are incredibly harsh. It's very cold. And the wildlife thrives there. I love Alaska. Yeah.
What I've heard is that it's probably one of the most beautiful sections of the earth.
I think so. Yeah.
But also one of the least densely populated.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody there for outside of various townships and things. It's unbelievable.
Have you ever been really far away from civilization in Alaska?
I went to Cold Bay, Alaska, which is in the Aleutian Islands, very near to the Russian border. And that's a town. It's like a little mining fishing town. But the remoteness of it, the Bering Sea, everything else. I mean, it wasn't like way out in the bush, but we took this tiny little plane to go to Cold Bay, and then took a small little plane to go to a place called Hoodoo, which was just this little tiny wooden building in the middle of nowhere. And it was very remote, very, very remote.
Does it have Inuit people?
The area did. Well, I didn't see any there, but the area did. But I went to a place called Churchill Wild, which is outside of Churchill, Canada, Manitoba. And we were staying in it, looking for polar bears. And we were staying in an area there, the size of the state of California, which is a very large state. And we were the only people in an area the size of the state of California.
Wow.
That's pretty remote. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is hard to think about. Like, it's hard to visualize it. It takes 14, 15 hours on highways to drive from one side of California to the other. And, yeah.
Indian context, it was like probably Uttar Pradesh. Like the geography of Uttar Pradesh. You're the only person in Uttar Pradesh.
That's right.
Only group of people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know the state, but that sounds about right. Yeah.
That's wild. Do you feel lonely?
I love it. I wouldn't stay there forever. I mean, I have a family and all that, but I love that feeling of I could be standing somewhere that no one else has ever stood. Or when you're in remoteness like that, every decision that you make is yours. Here, when I say here, I mean in the city, in Mumbai and Santa Barbara, California, where I live, every decision I make is dictated by a rule or a law or a social construct. But when you're out in remoteness, every single decision you make is yours. And if you make the wrong decision that leads to an accident or the death or something, that is your decision. And if you make the right decision that makes you happy or finds you the right food, that is your decision.
What could be a wrong decision?
Where to camp for the night. Oh, this looks lovely. There's no trees here. Right. Well, you're camping out, basically making yourself prey. Or you're camping in a low point where a flood could come. Or, there's a million things that could be the wrong decision. Yeah, I decide to walk this way because I don't want to go over the hill. Right. Well, that way is where the polar bears are, or the lions are, or whatever. Those are all wrong decisions. And they're not dictated by a law or a social convention or anything. They're dictated by your own decisions.
Probably the highest level of feeling alive.